Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs?
It's time for victory. We making history. We the new big thing. Ain't no mystery. Believe me when I say the big game's on. Better tune in. That new thing about to take off. Ready to face off. Look me in the eyes. I'm so game ready that I'm all up in your mind. Ready for the battle. We preparing for the war. Give them just a taste. I swear they
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Dynasty edition of the Bottom Line Show, powered by Fuel in the Gateway City, sponsored by Wild Sun Winery and Brewing Company, located in Hillsboro, Missouri. Well, that was a mouthful, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
I rehearsed that all day long, man. It just flowed. Did you see how that flowed? That was epic. Oh my God. So anyway, we thought we'd start off tonight's show by bringing on one of
Are we ready for that yet? Are we ready for that yet? No. I've been told
We're not ready for that yet?
Oh no.
My God. You know what? We decide we got a top quality show here that runs. I mean, it's precision, right?
I get it.
So we get one. We offer an olive branch to bring this guy on for just a couple minutes, and all we ask is that he doesn't totally screw things up. And what happens? We start the show and he's not ready to go.
But yes, he is. He's ready to go.
He's ready to go now?
Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to bring on one of the guys you may have ran across over the last few years, but he has a little number one little Kansas City Chief dude that's a big fan that he wants to introduce and talk about last night's game. So I'm going to turn it over to a guy that I just hope doesn't bring our show down.
I am bringing class to this monstrosity.
Just remember that. Bring class to the show, dude.
Right. I am bringing class. I actually went out and found your guys' the number one Chiefs fan. And it's funny because, look, he's even in the backstage pointing that he is the number one Chiefs fan. And I was at my friend's house, and my little nephew right there, the Reedster.
It's Reed.
Reed, what's up, buddy?
It's good.
Reed. Now, look, let's tell everybody. Who is the number one 6-year-old Chiefs fan?
Me.
Yes.
So here's why I decided to bring Reed on, because we had the Super Bowl. Reed, you see the guy above you, Eric, the guy Eazy-E?
Yeah.
He's a bum. You know why? Because he likes Brock Purdy. So you tell him Brock Purdy's a bum.
Brock Purdy's a bum.
Oh, great. You said you bringing class to the show, and this is what
I'm bringing So here, Reed, tell everybody why you like the Kansas City Chiefs so much and how excited you were to watch them.
I like the Kansas City Chiefs because they won the Super Bowl and they beat the 49ers, and I wish that they would beat the 49ers, and I wish that the 49ers would play against the Chiefs. My wish come true.
Right. Now, Reed, you were watching the game, and when the 49ers were up, you were so upset. You were sitting show everybody how you were sitting in your chair when they were losing.
I'm so sad.
Right. Now, we tried to get it to where we could watch the SpongeBob version, but your dad wouldn't let us, would he? He wouldn't let us, would he? Because that's just how he is, right? He's just very mean to us when we're together, right, buddy?
Yeah.
Right. Now, all right, I know Big Daddy Ed. Now, see, Reed, like over here, this is Big Daddy Ed. So say hi to Big Daddy Ed.
Hi, Reed. How are you doing?
All right, Big Daddy Ed.
Reed.
Ask him your question. I know you got a question for him.
He's got a question for me.
Oh, well, go, Reed. You interview
Okay, go ahead,
Big
Reed.
Daddy Ed.
Do you want the Chiefs or the 49ers to win?
I was rooting for the Chiefs, Reed. I was on your side last
Me
night.
too.
Now, Reed, this is Amanda's dad right here, right? So you know what his favorite team is, right?
Yeah.
It's that what is that team? What's that team called? The Minnesota what?
The Minnesota Bikers.
The Minnesota Bikers. Yeah,
That's all right, Reed. That's fine. It's the Minnesota Bikers from now on.
Hey, Reed.
What?
After now that you've seen Big Daddy Ed, do you believe me now that that's where Amanda gets her looks?
Yeah.
Yeah, see? What can I say?
Now, Reed, I know you got to go to bed. Buddy, because it's past your bedtime and Mom and Dad is letting you stay up late. I think Eric's got a question for you. Let's see if Eric's got a question. Eric, you got a question for Reed?
That was such a lead-in question, Ed. That doesn't count. Reed, you're better than that, bud.
No, I said what I want to ask Reed is when the game went into overtime, was you confident? Did you think the Chiefs were going to win, or was you starting to worry a little bit?
I always think the Chiefs are going to win.
See?
The little dude, let me tell you something. This little dude never wavered from his support for his Chiefs. This little dude all season, there's his brother Chael standing next to him who was just, talking about how bad the Chiefs were and all that. And Reed stuck by it. And Reed was pacing back and forth. Reed, who is your favorite Chiefs player?
Travis Kelce.
All right, Reed, is there anything, because I know you got to go to bed. Eric, Daddy Ed, is there anything you would like to ask my nephew before he goes to bed?
Reed, what's your favorite sport?
Football.
Oh, what's your second favorite sport?
Soccer.
Oh, you're supposed to say baseball.
Soccer.
And so you got this Jason dude over here, and he always likes to make predictions. So I want Reed to make your official prediction next year. Is the Chiefs going to win the Super Bowl again and repeat?
The Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl next year.
Again. Well, I believe you. I believe you more than I believe him. So if you say it's going to happen, it's probably going to happen.
Look, he's throwing up the three-peat. All right, Reed.
What?
Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Okay.
All right, go to bed.
Nice meeting you, Reed.
See you, pal.
Bye.
There you guys go. There's the number one Chiefs fan.
And I just want to say, John, you're full of crap because all four of us last week predicted that the Chiefs would win. So don't come on here and say that I picked the 49ers. I never picked the 49ers.
All right, fellas, I am going to turn this show back over to you.
Man, we won't even let him. We wouldn't let him finish his statement.
No B-Hawk Live this week because of Valentine's Day.
Oh, whatever. Goodbye. Goodbye, sir. Nobody cares.
He can't help himself, can he?
You go away. The class, remember class. You're supposed to be classy at this.
Can we actually get, without dirty on here, to the game?
Yes, let's go to the game.
Can we go to the game?
We're going to go to the game.
Hey, Brett is missing in action tonight. I guess so, after all the excitement that happened in Birmingham. I can understand that.
Yeah, all the excitement in Birmingham, and then I get the text. Damn, it's Monday night. I forgot. That's when you know it's been a rough weekend, man. That's when you know.
Yeah.
Okay, get to the game, Eric.
All right.
Give the fans what they want to hear right here.
The first question, before we even talk about the game and we dive into what happened, what did you think about the we'll just say confrontation between Travis Kelce and Andy Reid. Ed, I'm going to let you go first.
You know what was priceless? You know, when I first saw it, I had a flashback of when Mike Singletary was coaching the 49ers and Vernon Davis had a fit on the sideline, and he just pretty much told him to take his shoulder pads off, and he made him leave the field. But what I thought was even more priceless was right after it happens, and we're all looking at each other like, what the hell just happened? I get a text from my daughter, and it's a tweet that Coach Anthony Beck put out there right after it happened. And it says, XFL Battlehawk players, try me on the sidelines. Try me on the sidelines like that and see what happens. Now, if that wasn't a learning moment for the Battlehawk players, I just got a feeling that if I'm them, I wouldn't try that. I mean, I'm a big Travis Kelce fan, but he was a chump for doing that. I mean, Andy Reid commands respect, and for him to do that, I don't care. I just thought it was a chump move. Try that to Belichick, or try that to oh God, I just went blank. Oh God. Who's the coach that was coaching the Giants and the Cowboys back in the day? Bill Parcells. You try that to Bill Parcells, and Travis Kelce would have been handing out Gatorade the rest of the game. No doubt he'd have been handing out Gatorade.
Hey, it was all about.
Your turn, bud.
It was all about the passion of Travis Kelce. But here's the thing, though. Yep, happy Black History Month to you both. It's because if there was a player of that sort, a black player that done it, oh, he's riding the pines.
Vernon Davis. Mike Singletary, perfect example.
Hey, he riding the pines, man.
He embarrassed Vernon Davis and made him walk off the field carrying his shoulder pads, and that was it. He was out.
Exactly. That's I don't care less about the passion of the moment, man. You're not finna sit here and talk to me crazy. I don't care if you have played the game 11 years prior to that point. That's not what you do. That ain't classy behavior anyway. And guess what? They still wind up winning for it, in the end. But everything is good once you win. But there was gonna be a lot of questions given had the Chiefs lost that game. Why? What were you doing? What were you thinking in that moment? And even like I said, Andy Reid even said it in the post presser with NFL Network. He was like, well, he's a passionate guy. I'm like, I knew he was gonna stick up for him. There was no way he was gonna sit there and talk negative to him after a victory of sorts. I don't even think he would have said anything negative had they lost. But yeah, Travis Kelce, honestly, he was a little bit out of control, man. Like, seriously.
I will tell you. So all day I heard about, the passion of football, the relationship that they have, and all these things. But you know what? I lost a lot of respect for him in that moment. I mean, you have alpha males all over the field. Okay, not just for Kansas City, but you have alpha males on the 49ers side. How many guys did that over the course of the game? How many guys could have done that, I guess, during the course of the game? One. And today they were making all sorts of excuses. Well, it was the pressure of the Super Bowl, and it was the pressure of Taylor Swift and having to perform for her, and blah, 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 blah. And I thought to myself, right. And I'm just like, yeah, see, all the Chiefs fans, even Donna.
And Donna weighing in again, telling us to get over it.
Yeah.
So, but here's the deal. When they were up on the stage after the game was over and they were all doing their thing, you could see Travis Kelce in the background. But this was like right at the beginning, before they ever gave him the mic, he had that look on his face like he really felt bad. And I thought, here is a perfect chance for Travis Kelce to
apologize.
take the mic and say, first and foremost, I want to apologize to my coach. You know, for what I did on the sideline. It should have never happened. I have way too much respect for him. He had a moment that he could have just made it all go away. And what does he do? He does nothing but just go on and do the stuff that, you know, we expected him to do. That's fine. He can do all that. But he could have took 10 seconds and just squashed everything and just said, I was a goofball. I was a ding dong. I got way too much respect for the coach that I am embarrassed. And I mean, he could have just put it all to bed, but no, he couldn't do it.
The only people that are going to agree that it was no big deal, water under the bridge, blah, blah, are Kansas City fans. If that happens in a Minnesota game and those same Kansas City fans see it, they're on this message board saying, man, that dude is classless.
And that's why the Vikings never are going to win a Super Bowl, because they don't have any.
Not even that.
Discipline. They have.
Oh my God.
Not even that. If Lamar Jackson does it, Jalen Hurts does it. I'm going there. Jalen Hurts does it. Yep. Josh Allen does it. You know what I mean? Jameis Winston goes out of control. Oh, he's a classless thug. He doesn't need to do any of that. He needs to be kicked out of the game. He don't ever need to play football ever again in life.
Yeah, no,
that's what I'm saying, man. Like, come on, man. But again, that was the same thing though with Tom Brady. Remember, Tom Brady went after Bill Belichick too.
Oh yeah, yep,
exactly.
And
went after players and coaches and all of that stuff.
Those same Chiefs fans were like, Tom Brady's a class.
Get Tom Brady out of here. Tom doesn't need to play football ever again.
Yes, that's exactly right. So I get it. Listen, I understand. A fan is short for fanatic. I get it. So when it happens on your team, it's like, hey, I know they got a good relationship, this, that, and the other. But listen, in that moment, Travis Kelce has to be better. Period. End of story. I don't care.
He was like the first time he done it.
He was on my fantasy team. You know what? He was on my fantasy team this year, but you know what? I want winners. Oh, yeah, that's right. They did win the Super Bowl, so I guess define winner.
So here. So if you want winners, and you can, Aunt Donnie, you can love Travis Kelce, and a lot of people do. But what I'm telling you is what he did was wrong. Period. End of story. What he did was wrong. It doesn't mean you can't love the player. I get it. He's on your team. But if you're looking at it objectively, he was wrong.
And this is coming from a coach. So he's got that passion. Eric, what would happen? What would happen if one of your players that you took out of a baseball game, say he wasn't pitching very well, and you went in and put in a relief pitcher, and the starting pitcher come up to you in the dugout and did what he did to you? What would have happened there?
We'd have had to have a serious conversation about what the process was with the player potentially not even being on the team. Now, I know that's not going to happen at the NFL level, but you know, I don't care. You know, Keyshawn Johnson talked about his relationship with John Gruden today. He flat out said, I didn't like him. And he had some confrontations with him. But, you know, he's not bumping him about knocking him over and things like that. And so, you know, Keyshawn was kind of defending it. And I'm like, so you're really defending a player basically losing control. Travis Kelce lost control. Listen, you could be mad if you want to go over on the sideline. I would never let this fly in a high school game. But if you're a professional getting paid millions of dollars and you want to go find a corner of that sideline and throw your helmet down and destroy a water bottle and throw your little tantrum there, fine, great, whatever. I think it's bad optics, but do that. You don't go into a guy that you say, man, I respect him a lot and I owe everything to him, but I just did what I did on national TV at the Super Bowl. That doesn't equate in my head.
Was that before or after the fact? Did he do that? Because I remember the statement that Kelsey made that I owe my career. Was that after the game or before the game?
That was after.
Okay, so it was after the game.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So right, I understand he was. So that means he kind of dismissed it. You know what I mean? That was just a part of the moment and whatnot. But at the same time, I'm like, at least you could. And he probably did. There was a handling it behind closed doors. Yeah, they probably did do so. And that's that's understandable. But you were in front of 100 million people and you acted like a child.
Bring that last comment up, A-Train, that you just had up there.
This one?
Yep. So he says he doesn't have to be a role model for anything. I disagree. You know what? You take millions of dollars. You take millions of dollars to pay for Kansas City, Minnesota, Chicago, whoever it is. If you take millions of dollars and you take millions of dollars to do commercials and you put yourself out there and you have podcasts and you're doing all these things and you have charities and things that you work for, House Right, you're 100% wrong. You are a role model when you are in the public eye. And when you act like an idiot like that, and I'll say it, he acted like an idiot. He may be the nicest guy on the planet, but that was an idiot move. And if that's Bill Belichick, I can tell you what, Bill Belichick has him on the sideline, and he's cooling off. He's thinking about it for a while. Why Andy Reid didn't do that last night, well, we all know why he didn't do it. But what he should have done was walked over to him and said, you know what, you need time to cool off, and you're going to sit right here until you do. Then maybe Kelsey would have came over and said, hey, you know, Coach, I apologize. I lost my cool, man. Get me back in this game. Okay. But I think he was back. And according to the reports, he was arguing that when Pacheco fumbled the ball, it should have been him in there blocking and it wouldn't have happened. That's what you're blowing up about?
There
should have been blowing up the fact that you only had like one catch for 2 yards in the first half.
And what I think the good doctor forgets is the fact that, you know, everybody that knows a good doctor knows that he's a all-star wrestling fan. Okay? There's a big difference between a wrestler and how they're viewed by kids and parents versus a sport with coaches and the respect and everything that goes with it. Yeah, when you're watching a sport where they're, you know, wrecking cars and they're hitting people over the head with chairs and everything, yeah, you can sit there and say, oh yeah, they're not role models. They're just being idiots. That's fine. That's wrestling. But when you're talking about a national sport that parents are grooming their kids to play and doing it the right way, and the commitment that it takes to do the sport, and the respect that you have to have for authority figures and coaches, there is a huge difference. And I don't care what you say about athletes not being role models. That's a bunch of crap, because parents, you can raise your kids the best that you can raise them and do everything right. But those kids are still looking at their favorite athletes as their role models. And if you want to have a role model that does stuff like that, come on now, you got to be better than that. And I'm a Travis Kelce fan.
Me too.
I'm speaking of it through Travis Kelce. I am a big fan. But what he did is not defendable. I don't care whether you're a Chief fan or whether you're not a Chief fan. It's just not. You talk to any coach at any level, at any sport, and ask them what would happen if a player come up and did that to them. You are going to get one united front across the board that it's about respect. And if you want to look at athletes and look at sports through the eyes of all-star wrestling, then you're so far off base that I can't even talk to you because you have no idea what you're talking about.
And let's face it, I know there's wrestling fans out there, but I got news for you. I don't want my kids watching that garbage anymore. That has gone way beyond Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant and those guys. The crap that they put out there now, it's half the time it's a half hour of strippers and stuff. I mean, that's what they look like. I wouldn't want an 8-year-old kid watching that. I mean, so right. I mean, are they begging to be role models? No. But in the NFL and the standard that the NFL sets, you know, for their players and the things that they talk to them about and whatever, I don't know how you defend it. I'm not going to.
Well, Doctor, it doesn't take too much to figure it out. When wrestlers are dying at 35 years old, at 40 years old, at 45 years old, because they've roided up their whole life, don't sit there and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about. I watched wrestling back in the 80s and the 90s when wrestling was what I consider really wrestling. And all those guys that we watched from the 80s and 90s, a lot of them are dead. Why are they dead? Because they did everything the wrong way and they roided up and they drank and drugs and you name it. You throw it all in there. So yes, wrestling is entertainment. I will give you entertainment, but there ain't nothing about being a wrestler that there's a role model for nothing. Yeah. So don't sit there and talk to me about wrestling. I don't even want to hear it.
All right. Let's get back into the football conversation. Did you mute yourself? Did you mute yourself, Eric?
No, I didn't. Oh,
No. Did he mute himself?
You didn't mention wrestling. I mentioned wrestling because I said you're looking at it through the eyes of a wrestling fan. So I brought up wrestling.
All right. Let's get back on track. Let's get it back on track here. All right. So Chiefs are the champs. Listen, three-time Super Bowl MVP, Patrick Mahomes. Now, is he going down as one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time? Is he headed down that road? He's getting himself together now. We're gonna let him get back up.
Let's say that again, A-Train.
Is Patrick Mahomes now 3-time Super Bowl MVP? Is he down right now as literally the greatest quarterback of all time?
He's not the GOAT yet, but he's well on his way. I mean, to have 3 Super Bowl championships and what is he, 27 or 28? I mean, 28. And Kansas City has the recipe. Say what you want. And I mean, this year they wanted to count him out, and halfway through the season, I would have even counted him out. But they've got the recipe. So who are we or who's anybody to say that Patrick Mahomes can't get to the same level that Tom Brady was?
And that's where they're headed. They're literally headed to that New England Patriots style of branding of winning at this point. You know what I mean? And so I saw the second half with Mahomes and shout out to Nickelodeon for the job they did with the Super Bowl, because they also did it alongside CBS and Paramount Plus. And watching the game there was different because, you know, they mentioned about Mahomes and how good he was and stuff. Like the second half and overtime, completely different than what he did in the first half. And I think when we watched the game, the 49ers completely moved away. The same thing that happened with the Chiefs. Well, the Chiefs and the Ravens, they completely moved away from their game plan. And here we are now, Kyle Shanahan, when he was coaching with Atlanta, he wasn't the coach, but he was a offensive coordinator there. And then the 3 times in the playoffs, NFC Championship game, and 2 times against the same Kansas City Chiefs, had double-digit leads and blew them all, or had a lead and blew it.
Well, here's the deal. if you look at the first half of that game, Kansas City was struggling big time. 49ers dominated the first half. But the problem was they weren't putting points on the board. So, I mean, at halftime, I posted on the bottom line page that it's a total domination, but they only have a 1-score lead. Is that going to bite them in the ass at the end? And it did, because they should have had double-digit lead at halftime.
I have never seen a first half so thoroughly dominated by one team, and you look up, and it was 10-0 at one point. It felt like it was 21-0. And you know what? I think we would have had a chance on that if your MVP guy wouldn't have absolutely killed that first drive that we were marching down, the 49ers were marching down the field on, and he coughs the ball up. When is the last time Christian McCaffrey fumbled? What are we doing?
Wait, hold on. Question. Ain't that McCaffrey's first dig in the Super Bowl? First time?
Oh, yeah, probably.
Come on now. Come on now. That's different. This is not playoff games. This ain't regular season. This is for it all. So the nerves for Christian McCaffrey, yeah, I'm going to defend it. That he may have had some on that first drive. It happens. But here's the thing.
It was an absolute killer.
But here's the thing. I said it after the first half was over. I've seen this movie before. Okay. 49ers have somebody got a lead on the Chiefs, and they wind up losing in the end.
But listen, you say you've seen this movie before. It took a ball bouncing off a guy's ankle to get there. You know, it took some weird bounce. It took a blocked extra point to get there. I mean, stuff that you don't normally see happen. That's what it took for them to win another one. I mean, it just seemed like time after time they get inside the red zone. San Francisco has a holding penalty and backs them up, and they settle for a field goal. I mean, it was like San Francisco this time just kept saying, here you go, take it.
Did anybody in their right mind not know when it went into overtime? When San Francisco went down and kicks a field goal, and which novel concept field goal,
right?
Then when the Chiefs come trotting out on the field in overtime, did anybody in their right mind? Was there anybody out there that didn't know what was going to happen?
No.
I mean,
in fact, I will tell you, I looked at my kid on the couch and I said, here's the deal, bud. If it's 4th and 4 and I'm the 49ers, I can still get a first down. I'm going for it.
And they did they not?
No, it was 3rd and 4, and that's when they decided. That's when the 49ers, again, another thing that I cannot even wrap my mind around.
Welcome, Brett.
Oh my God, Brett come on and muted Eric right off the bat.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did. Eric.
What in the heck is going on here, man? I have no clue.
Look at me just a ranting.
So anyway,
hey, you know what they say? Ball don't lie, boy. Ball
don't lie.
Ball don't lie.
Oh,
what's going on, sir? Yeah, you've been muted again, man. I don't know what happened. Okay, there we go. Okay, so Brett, I don't know if you watched the Super Bowl, but what was your take on it from what you seen last night down to the Chiefs of Champs? Am I getting bad? Hello?
Hello?
No,
yeah,
we can't hear Brett. This might turn into the Big Daddy Ed and A-Train show tonight.
It just might.
How about now?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Hey, there you go.
Go ahead.
Poor Eric, I'm sorry. Fashionably late as ever.
You delaying pretty bad yourself, sir.
Brett,
Go ahead.
live from the Birmingham deer stand.
Beshmer.
Oh God.
I just came from Birmingham, so that's yeah. Yeah, I was in downtown Birmingham.
So
Uh,
what's your thoughts?
Exactly. I mean, there was no point in me coming on. Eric was stealing my thunder word for word. I said, literally,
Right?
you know, I mean, literally, I said when they were up 3, I said they should be up 10. And when they were up 10, I said they should be up 17. I said I have seen this movie before. I went over to my mom's and she had a big spread, football party and all that. And she's there ain't no way they're going to win. I said, I'm telling you right now, Mom. I said I don't even have to watch the rest of this game. I already know what time it is. I mean, you knew. And then when they go to overtime, she said they're going to go to overtime. I said, well, either Kansas City's going to win it now or they're going to win it in overtime. But either way, we already know. And when San Francisco kicked that field goal in overtime, I was like, well,
You knew it was dead.
that'll be the last time they get the ball.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
before
we have seen that movie time and time and time and time and time again.
Before my mic went out, they interviewed Chris Jones after the Super Bowl, and he said this is exactly what he said. He goes, I thought I screwed up. I thought it was a screen and I was toast, but I just kept going and it wasn't a screen. He couldn't believe that they just like as an offensive lineman, Chris Jones, home wrecker, quarterback destroyer. Let's not block him. Jeepers. I mean, I could go down the list of all the things that the 49ers did to just say, here, Mahomes, here's your dynasty. It's awful.
Two things out of that game that cracked me up the most after the game was over. Who was that fullback for the 49ers? Kyle
Juszczyk.
He said he didn't even know that there was he didn't know what the overtime rules was. And then the person in McCole Hardeman didn't even know he won the game for the Chiefs. Like, who's not telling them about the overtime rules? Like, did y'all not go through this? Like, there's a potential thing that it could go to overtime?
It's my guess that the players are like, well, I guess we go into overtime. The coaches will tell you what we got to do. I don't think it's something that they plan on, really, to be honest with you. And they've changed the overtime rules, a couple different times. So it's like, I just don't think it's something they pay attention to. The coaches probably do. Like, okay, if we do get in overtime, here's what we want to do. And listen, one of the things that I've heard that it's gone both ways today is Shanahan was stupid for not taking the ball second. So, he knows what to do.
Right.
I'm going to tell you this much. If they would have done that, what did Kansas City do to end the game in regulation?
Exactly.
11-play drive, gets them down in there, and then they kick the field goal to tie. So in the overtime, you want to trot your defense right back out there. And as it worked out, because of the time that San Francisco took off the clock, almost 8 minutes, their defense got some time to at least get a breath. But, I mean, it just didn't matter. That's why I was like, why kick the field goal? Just go for the touchdown. If you don't get it, at least they got to go 97 yards or whatever.
Exactly.
And one thing I didn't think about either till post game was, I had the initial thought too. You take the ball last because then you know what you got to get, right?
Yeah.
Right.
You can use all 4 downs. But like he said, his defense was on the field 7 minutes in the fourth quarter. They were gassed. But in the scenario that they take the ball first and they can be tied after the first initial, they go down, they got a field goal. If they hold the Kansas City Chiefs to a field goal, well, now it's sudden death, and they get the ball first on sudden death.
So I understand what you're saying. I get your point. I'm not disagreeing with it, but what I'm telling you is now you're giving the Kansas City defense almost a half an hour of catching their breath, getting their legs back, and all those types of things. Man, I don't know. I think, honest to God, of course, it's easy to say this now, being armchair quarterback 2020 in reverse, but I thought for sure they'd go for it on 4th and 4.
And I understand it.
Well,
you know what I mean? I understand
funny you
that.
say that. Funny you say that, because I was going to say, at least you can see both sides of why each side did what they did. And like I said, you're talking Final Four, the 4 best teams, final best 2 teams. You can understand why they did what they did, and there's a thought process instead of just saying 4th and 7, we're going for it.
Right.
4th and 3, we're going for it.
Listen,
4th
Dan
and 10,
Campbell,
we're going for it.
Dan
Doesn't matter what the
Campbell's
score
been
is.
done for 2 weeks, Ed. You got to take a breath.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
Could
just,
you imagine Dan Campbell watching the game last night when they kicked the field goal? What are you doing? You
what are you doing? You
got
kicked the field goal.
Man,
Hey,
listen.
we just gave all y'all a screenshot.
If
We just
Dan
gave y'all a
Campbell,
screenshot.
if Dan Campbell was coaching that game last night, it would have been a 15-14 game because there wouldn't have been a field goal ever attempted.
Hey, we just gave y'all a true screenshot. If y'all go on YouTube and go back and find it and see all of us doing like this, you got it. But yeah, but that was the thing though about especially that late into the game, of course, and then last drive, of course, Kansas City drives down the field and then they score. But for a half and probably most of the third, it was really bad. It was really bad football, man. I'm like, come on, this got to get better. This got to get better as the game goes. But I will give credit to you cannot bet against Patrick Mahomes. You can't do it. There's no way you can bet against him. If you give him an inch, he's taking a mile. Okay. And then we got to understand with this defense that they had, they stifled Shanahan's game plan. Like the same thing happened when stifling Harbaugh's game plan with the Ravens. And that is how they were able to get, and thankful to a blocked extra point, because that was also critical. They hit the
that
extra
was
point.
huge.
They
That
hit
was
the extra
huge.
point is 17-13, right? So that means there's no case of a tie. That means that the Chiefs have to at least score a touchdown. If they do a field goal, they're down 1 instead of tied. So that changes the whole landscape of the game at that point. So that means they have to score, and they hadn't been scoring. And that was the key part. Because if I remember correctly, there was only 2 field goals to close out the regulation.
Yeah. The biggest
when that kick got blocked, I looked at everybody there and I said, "Well, boy, that point's going to cost them." I mean,
Shanahan
you knew what was coming.
From his old man, he ain't learned nothing from his old man. Like literally.
Well, was there anybody here today that would doubt going into next season? As far as I'm concerned, Kansas City is the favorite to win it again next year, because what they've shown is they've got the recipe. They've got the recipe. When push comes to shove, they've got the coaches, they've got the players that understand the situation. They've got the recipe. So if anybody thinks that Kansas City's not favored going into next year, they're wrong.
You're actually a little bit wrong. The Vegas odds came out for next year already. And I will tell you why I agree with Vegas. I'm not saying your point isn't valid. I'm not saying that.
Real quick, Vegas also had San Francisco as the favorite last night.
I get it, but 2.5 is a nothing burger. If it's not 3.5, I mean that's different. I mean that's different. 2.5 is a nothing burger. I think they did it on purpose just to give freaking Mahomes more motivation. It just sucks all the way around. But but I will tell you, this is why. So the new odds came out, and I think San Francisco's like 450, and I think Kansas City's next with like 600 or something, plus 600, whatever. Here's why. Okay, Chris Jones's contract is up.
Right.
That big dude is going to get paid. And they already said it today. They're not sure unless Chris Jones takes a hometown discount that they're going to be able to meet that his contract demand. That's a big piece out of the middle of your defense. That's 1. 2, when you're in the NFC, you got Dallas. Thanks.
Did you just do that?
Yeah, Ed's one of those. He's got a new toy, so he has to play with it. like Like him in a dark room. He's got a toy. He's got to play with it. So, 2.
How's he doing that to you, though?
I don't know. You guys need to get back on track. These people are not listening to us for you guys going nuts here. Get back on track. 2. I'm just going to talk over you. 2. The Chiefs play in what division? In what conference?
AFC West.
AFC, right?
Yeah.
Okay. San Francisco plays in the NFC. Are we really all that worried about 2 teams like Philadelphia and Dallas kind of holding on by a thread, and we're gonna run it again and see if it works out again? I mean, who are the teams that we're really worried about in the NFC that could potentially knock San Francisco off their throne? But in the AFC, you got the Chargers with Harbaugh. He's going to turn them around. And I did not know. So the Chargers were 5-12 this year with a dog water coach. Did you know that 7 of those games they lost by 3 points or less?
Pause right there. Let me say this. It is hard as hell, and you know it. You know it because you've seen it. For a team that loses the Super Bowl to get back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Case in point, look at what the Eagles did. Case in point, that can happen to the 49ers next season. Even though you think that this same team could come back, load up, and they could get back to the Super Bowl, there's a great chance. One injury changes all of that.
Listen, I get it. Injuries, but the injuries could happen to Kansas City. They could happen to anybody. I understand that.
And not only that,
I'm 100% going off of, let's see, who are the quarterbacks that the Chiefs are going to have to face? You know, Lamar, Josh Allen, Herbert now in San Diego twice.
I just received breaking news. Breaking news has just come into the bottom line. AJ McCarron is now signing with the St. Louis Battlehawks.
Are you
yes,
serious?
sir?
Yes!
Yes, sir!
That's what I'm talking about. That's better than all this Super Bowl talk right there.
You know, Brett just went on suicide watch.
Yeah, he just crapped his pants,
Brett just
man.
went on suicide watch.
It's sure gonna hurt my feelings when Birmingham kicks his ass this year.
Jesus.
Yeah, you want to hear some more breaking news? Here's some more breaking news.
I did it wrong. Oh God.
2024 odds for the Minnesota Vikings to win the Super Bowl: 2,355,421 to 1. You put in $1, and if they win the Super Bowl, you're a millionaire. That's the way it works, baby.
That's the news was.
You better not go the other way, because if you do, I'm going through the screen, baby.
The talk is he's returning. That's the
talk. Yeah.
But there's a great chance he's coming back. So AJ's still returning to the St. Louis Battlehawks, and yes, the Battlehawks are going to.
No doubt. A man of his word. What did he say? If he comes back to the UFL,
I did not want this.
He will only play for the St. Louis Battlehawks. But anyway, we need to wrap up the Super Bowl because we've got UFL news we got to start talking about.
So I'll wrap it up. I'll put a nice little bow on it. It ticks me off that the game turned so sloppy for the 49ers. If the 49ers would have came out, they would have ran the damn ball in the third quarter, given McCaffrey some touches, maybe work some more of that clock, whatever it was. Not have the infamous ankle ball. Not have, here's the deal. If I would have told you Brock Purdy is going to throw for 255 yards like he did, he's going to have a touchdown. Jennings is going to throw a crosser to McCaffrey, and he's going to score a touchdown. He's not going to have any interceptions. He's going to take care of the football. I mean, you're saying, man, if I said Mahomes is going to have a pick, you're going to be like, man, I think 49ers probably win that game.
Hold on, pause.
But
I gave credit to the Chiefs. What are you talking
no,
about?
I mean, I've been giving credit to the Chiefs the whole freaking show.
Yeah,
And I'll say this: what makes it so hard to get back to the championship game every year is the fact that the teams that don't always get there, and they actually get there, the next year they have a first place schedule. They have to play a first place schedule. So when you get to the NFC Championship, AFC Championship, Super Bowl, you name it, the next year it's hard to repeat because your schedule gets tougher. So that's even more of an argument for the Chiefs that makes this so incredible, because they've won three Super Bowls now, and every year they're playing a first place schedule, and they're still taking on everybody and still getting there and still winning it.
Exactly. They're taking everybody
so there you go.
Man.
There's another compliment I gave them.
Here's one for you too. Even though at 10-7, this Chiefs team was never supposed to be here, but guess what?
Correct.
They were.
Listen,
they did exactly all of the heavy lifting.
The biggest thing you take away from this season, and this, I mean, of all the years,
I'm sorry, I'm a liar. He's not coming back.
Of all the years that the Chiefs were gettable, this should have been the year. 11-6. They had some really bad, periods in the season and things like that. And now they get one home game and minus 21 degrees against Miami. What do? They win that. Now they got to go on the road to Buffalo, and everybody's like, oh, this is the year Buffalo gets them, man. Kansas City's gettable, and da-da-da-da. And what do? They walk out of Buffalo with a win. And then what happens? They go to Baltimore. And never supposed to beat Baltimore. What happens? They beat Baltimore. Then they get to the Super Bowl. To me, the Super Bowl, I mean, we've had some really great Super Bowls here, in the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, there was a 10-year stretch where Super Bowls were awful.
I disagree.
No, there was a lot of blowouts in like a 10-year stretch. Like 7 out of 10 years, there were blowouts. Nobody wants to watch that unless it's your team blowing them out. I mean, most of us up here can probably talk about our team blowing somebody out in the Super Bowl, except for Daddy Ed up there. But, I mean, right, Ed? Have you ever watched your team blow anybody out in the Super Bowl?
Depends upon what part of the game you're talking about. I don't even think they've had a lead in a Super Bowl. So,
yeah.
No, I can't.
Right. So, I mean, you give Chiefs the credit for what they did. I mean, what they accomplished in a year where, people weren't talking about the Chiefs necessarily even being there. I mean, that's great. We're just talking about the things that had to go right for them to do that this year. Did things have to go right for them to win last year? Man, I mean, the Eagles gave them a heck of a game, but, the Chiefs were the Chiefs, and we were expecting them to win. I mean, even today, Tyreek Hill put out a little deal. He said he feels like the sad little brother that isn't part of the team. He actually came out. Now, if you're in Miami, what do you think about this? This is exactly what Tyreek Hill said today. He goes, I told Drew Rosenhaus, who is his agent, I wanted to be back with the Kansas City Chiefs, bar none.
Man.
But I want the guaranteed money. And they were looking for $70 million guaranteed. On day one, he said Miami gave him the $70 million guaranteed. And then the Jets came in and offered him $76 million guaranteed. The Chiefs would never go above $58 million for Tyreek Hill's services.
But what's funny about that is everybody thought when Tyreek Hill left the Chiefs that the Chiefs were done.
Correct.
And so if anybody thinks that the Chiefs need Tyreek Hill, they don't, because they've won 2 Super Bowls without him.
Without him, exactly.
And they've beat him. I mean, that case is closed.
But listen, with Tyreek Hill, Kansas City is probably favored in every one of these games and not underdogs. Let's face it.
Okay. Okay,
I mean, that's what I think. That's what I think.
All right.
They still
So
won.
now let's say that we have officially put a bow on the NFL season. They're done. They're out. Now it's time to turn to the spring league because the clock is ticking, baby. We're only a month and a half away from kickoff, and it's getting good. We just had our first round of meet and greets where the brass from the UFL is going to all the cities to meet with the fan bases. And who was the first one they went to?
The guy from up there.
So talk a little bit, Brad, about the big meet and greet that happened in Birmingham.
Man, it was good. I got to talk to Skip and Moose briefly. Talked with Corey afterwards. Got to meet with Skip's PR lady, and I did mention to him about coming on the our show, The Bottom Line. He agreed without question just to get with Heather, and we'll try to get it ironed out for hopefully in a week or two. So I'm very excited. They went over a lot of kind of decisions or how they went about choosing the kickoff, which kickoff, and how the XFL did do a better job of putting butts in seats, and the USFL in Birmingham and all the other cities have a lot of work to do. And man, it was good. It was good.
Ed is laughing for a reason, Brett, because he wants to talk about what happened in Memphis.
Oh, okay.
Well, but first I want to comment to Chris and also to Mike the fact that you're talking about the big Battlehawk showdown against the Michigan Panthers in Detroit, week 1. There's a couple here in the Bottom Line crew and me. They're going to be making the track to Detroit. And it's going to be my first trip to Ford Field. You know, I figured my first trip to Ford Field would be in a Vikings jersey, but no, it's going to be in a Battlehawks jersey. And when we get to Ford Field, we would love nothing more than to meet you guys. So if we can figure out a way to hook up with you guys to tailgate or whatever, just let us know because we'd love to meet you guys.
Because two things that everybody needs to kind of understand here is this. And even for people that are on here for the NFL part of it, if you're not watching the UFL, you're missing good football. That's the first thing. So I encourage all you guys that are NFLers, you know, you need to watch it. That's the first thing. Second thing is we are a show about all the UFL. So when we say, hey, come talk to us, whatever, yeah, we may be Battlehawks fans. That's fine. But we are UFL fans. We are going to cover all the games. We are going to try to interview every coach we can. We are going to try to do all those things because, you know, you may be a Michigan fan. We're going to try to get your coach on here. We're going to try to get some players. We're going to try to do those things for everybody because it's great. The UFL is great, and we want to, you know, like our guys went to Memphis this past weekend. And from all I could see, they had a blast and they met a lot of people and had fun with the Memphis fans. I mean, that's what it's all about. So, you know, stay tuned to The Bottom Line because it's going to be all UFL all the time from here on out.
And we're not obnoxious fans either. We're good guys. So when we come to Detroit, you know, it ain't going to get any better than the Bottom Line crew, the B-Hawk Live crew, the X-Fan, UF Fan, Legion, you name it. It's all powered by fuel, right? Powered by fuel.
So I've heard. Kind of.
So where did Brett go?
We did lose him. We tried to get him back. We'll see what happens.
No, so he was our Birmingham connection. So what was something about Birmingham is it was cool to see all the pictures and the interviews and everything that happened in Birmingham because the very next night we made the track down to Memphis to see the same guys that Brett had talked to the night before. So Friday night we got introduced to the Memphis Showboat Yacht Club group.
Shout out to Bill Alexander. Yeah.
Oh, Bill, yeah, they were. It was a good time. And then we got to meet their coach, and I always stumble on the name, but it's John
DeFilippo. DeFilippo. Come on, man. He's a former Viking.
And even has Viking ties. So, he's a good guy. But talking to Daryl Johnston, I mean, it was just an awesome night all the way around. So I'll let A-Train kind of.
Nope, I ain't saying anything. I'm not saying anything.
What?
That's my job for the X-Fan show.
Oh, right. Right. He just produces this show.
So, yeah, he's holding out. He's holding out for us, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, and what I was alluding to before, so I mean, the connections that were made in Birmingham with Brett and Memphis with the guys there, I mean, we're going to be looking to bring the whole UFL to the bottom line. Now, are we Battlehawks fans? Yeah. The Battlehawks beat your team. Are we going to talk about it? Absolutely. But we are UFL fans. And, I mean, that's just what we're looking to do. So, hopefully we can get all the coaches on, get players from different teams and things like that. So, you miss the bottom line, you might miss your coach, because I have a feeling that a couple of those coaches that have already been mentioned, DeFilippo, Ed, DeFilippo, say it with me, DeFilippo.
DeFilippo. Well, if I was another guy on our studious group, I'd be saying stuff like John DeFilippo or something like that.
I know where you're going with that.
You know what I'm talking about.
That person's going to be very, very, very offended by that.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you offended him.
And just so everybody out there knows, our special team MVP, Darius Shepard, his first name is Darius. It's not Demarius, DeMarco, Darius. And I just want to say, one of our commenters over here, pull that last comment up that Derek put up there.
Oh, okay. The one that Derek put up.
Yeah. This was priceless. This was priceless because all along I was listening to these two, the good doctor and Derek, going back and forth. And if it was going to come to punches in the comment line, it was those two, right? only to find out that they worked together and they didn't even realize it. And they were basically calling each other redheaded stepchilds, and the guys worked together. I was going to see how long it took those guys to realize. And they'll say they're going to go to work tomorrow. They're going to be bitch slapping each other. It's like, oh yeah, that was priceless, man. I'm sitting here going, oh man, they're like a haul apart from each other, and they're about ready to go to blows in the comment line.
What we see about the Memphis Mean Green is about 150, 200 people that was there at that event.
Yeah, I got conflicting reports from Birmingham, Brett, and you gotta set me straight here.
I was there.
When I asked you how many people were there,
about $150.
You probably told me $150 to 200.
Yeah,
when we talked to the powers that be in Memphis, they told us that Birmingham had probably 500 people there.
Twice as many people there.
Look, I was in the front row.
So which is it? We need to know. We're not talking about your roster size. We're talking about how many people were actually at the meet and greet.
When we get done with St. Louis, you're going to think we got 500 people on the roster.
Is that how you guys have won? You're playing with 15 on the field instead of 11?
Hey, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
Spoken like a true Alabama fan there. A true Alabama fan, right there.
So I was online.
Oh, I forgot to wear some of my championship Alabama rings tonight. You know that. Hey, somebody said you're an Alabama fan. You live in the past. I say, well, I can't help my past is so much better than yours. I apologize.
And you know what's awesome? You know what's awesome? Again, the Bottom Line crew, B-Hawk Live crew, name the crew. It's all part of Fuel. We are making the trek to Birmingham for the Week 7 game. So we are going to be tailgating with the Birmingham Stallion crowd too. So this is going to be one of those memorable seasons that we are going to get introduced to the USFL side of this thing. And we're going to find out how y'all roll on the eastern half of the United States, because we're making a point of making it to all the cities.
Well, you remember San Antonio last year, right? About the Southern hospitality. Well, you're going to get the same thing in Birmingham. You're going to get free food, free drinks, and you're going to be treated with respect, because that's how we do it in the South, baby.
I low-key going to miss the fact that it's not going to be at Legion Field for this reason, Brett. It's because the people before you jump, Legion Field, the people around there I actually love, because they really hospitable over there, right? And they
are. They
really are. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But I understand that Legion Field it's not the best of stadiums to be in, but Protective is another thing, and you know what I'm saying. But
Protective's a brand new stadium where, unfortunately, the city of Birmingham has let Legion Field. I mean, they even had to take down the upper deck a few years ago. It's sad when I went to Legion Field for the Birmingham Iron games back in 2019. I just turned to my wife and said, I guarantee you, Bear Bryant and some of the other legendary coaches that had coached in Legion Field are just shaking their heads that they let such a historic stadium just dwindle away, and that's what they've done. And I hate that. There's been a lot of historic sporting events there at Legion Field, but yeah, man, look, at Legion Field, you can hear all the rumors and all that, but when you used to pull up and park in someone's yard, whether it was in government housing, whether it was here, whether it was there, I can assure you, when you paid them to park, you didn't have to worry about your vehicle because they sat right there and they watched it. You didn't have no problem.
That is a fact. He is not lying. He is not
lying. Now that Chris has established the fact that Brett don't know how to count, Chris come out and said there was 500 plus at Birmingham.
Well, here's the deal. I was literally in the front row facing Skip. There was a lot of people that were coming in and out. There was. Now, at any given time, I would say there's absolutely at least 150 in there, but I don't know how many came in and out. I checked the door, and there was constantly people coming in and out. But if it was closer to 400 or 500, that's fantastic. But there again, I was standing there staring at our two-time champion coach and Moose and listening to him talk about football. I wasn't sitting there counting heads,
Eric, we can't even really jump on him, because until we prove him wrong, he's got gloating rights, right?
Well, it's not. Look, I'm as real as the day is long, and that's why no fan base likes me, because they don't like the truth. I'm just as critical about my team. Trust me, I'm more critical of my team than anybody else can be, whether it's Alabama, whether it's the Bears, whether it's the Lakers, whether it's the Birmingham Stallions, whether it's the Atlanta Braves. I love them, and I'm going to be with them to the day I die, but I'm going to sure enough tell them when I feel like they're doing something wrong. And a lot of these fan bases, they wear those road color glasses, and they can't handle that.
Yeah.
I'm not that way.
Well, we get our show, several of our shows get in trouble because we're the same way too. When they do good, we let them know. When they don't do good, we let them know. And evidently, all we're supposed to do is talk about how great they are all the time. So
Hey, is that true that AJ's coming back? Arlington.
I've been called a liar, so we'll see what.
Hey, I want him. I want him back because it's good for the league. Look, whether
you know what,
whether Birmingham's going to win a championship or they're not, I want the best players out there. And look, in my opinion, right now, if AJ comes to St. Louis, I think you got Birmingham, St. Louis, Memphis, and DC. That would be my top 4 in that order. But Birmingham might lose every game, fellas. I don't know, but on paper, my goodness, that the roster is impressive, and so is Memphis, so is St. Louis. So a lot of these other teams have improved their rosters in the last couple of weeks.
I don't do this very often, but who has not wavered one bit during this whole time saying AJ was going to be back? And you know what put him over the top?
God.
You know what put him over? You know what put him over the top?
Because he's got character.
He found out that we're going to be selling refrigerator magnets of our show. And we said that half the proceeds were going to go to AJ, and that put him over the top, baby. He knows those refrigerator magnets are going to bring in thousands of dollars.
Top dollar, baby.
Thousands of dollars.
That's how we roll.
That's right.
Okay.
We probably can't say that publicly, so we'll say it on the down low. Because
I'll say this: if AJ McCarron is with St. Louis and they come to Birmingham week 7, whether St. Louis or Birmingham wins that game, AJ will get a standing ovation without a doubt, and there'll be 30 to 40,000 fans in the stands with decent weather. Now, I know that sounds, but we don't have a dome. That's why, from what I gather, too, one of my guys that was at a Michigan meet and greet, he said the plans were, breaking news, I don't know if it's true or not, that they were planning on rotating the championship game the next few years in the dome. So we had San Antonio last year, St. Louis this year, probably being Michigan the following year, and that's smart. That's one reason they didn't go with Canton. Because, I went to Canton this past year, and there were thousands of people that didn't go because all week we were supposed to get bad thunderstorms. Of course, it ended up sprinkling, but I can tell you there's 10 people I know that I talked to in the group that didn't come because they were worried about the weather. And that's happened 2 years in a row in Canton. So it would be smart to continue to have these championship games in these bowl arenas.
The good thing about it is I went to San Antonio for the championship game last year, so I've seen a game there. Of course, I go to the Dome, so I've seen it there. So when I go to Ford Field week 1, I'll be able to do a direct comparison. But
all 3 stations.
Of all 3, that's right. So we'll be able to give unwavering opinions on where it should be. But, Brett, I have all the respect in the world for the Birmingham fans, and I am sure, I'm positive, that when AJ trots out on the field for that game, that you guys are going to all give him the respect he deserves.
Oh, without question.
But I have a feeling, just a hunch, that when the game is over, there's only going to be probably somewhere around 4 guys that are going to be standing up clapping. And it's going to be this guy down here and me and we're gonna, when AJ is gonna give us a high five on the way out of the stadium, because we're gonna know that he effectively turned around and stuck it to you guys. But just so you know, Birmingham fans, it's all love. It's just banter, friendly banter amongst fan bases.
Yeah.
It's nothing.
Now, we're going to treat you good, but now if St. Louis does win that game, at the end of the game, you better get your ass to the car in the parking lot and get on the road.
We're going to be tailgating in Birmingham. We're going to be tailgating in Birmingham, and I will feed as many of you as I can. But if I got to feed a bunch of you, you better plan on hot dogs because this kid ain't gonna get too fancy if I gotta feed too many people.
Hey,
in Birmingham, Alabama, fish, hot dogs, man, ribs. It don't matter. It don't matter.
We just
It does
want
not matter.
we want the Johnny on the spot report ad about the stale chips and the soggy hot dogs from all the domes to see who has the.
So anyway, so now when we talk about Memphis, they had the meet and greet there. We had another one then the following day on Saturday that was in Michigan. So I need our Michigan faithful, Mike. I know you're one of them. How many guys did you have at the meet and greet in Michigan? I'm trying to gauge what
Hey,
we're
I
up
sent
to.
Mike an open invitation to join us any night he wanted to. Y'all need to bring Mike on one night. He's an awesome guy. He worked at the Michigan Hub last year for the Philadelphia Stars. He's still trying to catch on with the league somewhere. He's just as big a fan as we are, if not more. And they need to hire him in ticket sales because I'm telling you right now, that boy, he's made for this business, and spring football needs Mike.
Well, I like Mike. I think we got off on the wrong foot because some people would say I was probably a little hard on Dan Campbell. And so from what I've been able to tell through Brett.
No, Mike just couldn't handle the truth.
Mike is about as big a Michigan fan, and it don't matter whether it's the Panthers, the Wolverines, the Lions, it don't matter who it is. He's a big fan. So I'm kind of behind the eight ball because I said a few things he didn't agree with. But I put out an open invitation to tailgate with him in Detroit, and he really didn't give me an answer. So
listen, Ed. This if they expect this show to be about everybody sitting around holding hands and saying kumbaya about everything, this ain't the place for them, man.
They'll find that out week one when the games start being played and we start breaking down games. That's where every week they'll think that we're too hard on this team and too hard on that team and we're favoring this team, whatever. We're just going to be – the truth shall set you free. Right, Brett?
It shall. And what you do at night will come to light.
Hey, listen, I want to say this about we got a chance to be, me and Ed got a chance to be at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. This is what I'm going to say about it. It's really difficult to get into the Alamo Dome, okay?
Is it?
It's different because you have to go down steps and then go back up steps just to get to the dome. Because it's under I think it's under a train track. As crazy as that sounds, it's true. You have to go under some tracks and then you come back up and it's like lots of walking. And I'm like, if you leave something, you're stuck.
And
anything.
You got to figure out if it's worth going back to the car.
And when you got inside the dome, you could have pizza, chicken, hamburgers, hot dogs, nachos.
Here we go.
Fill in the blank, right? You could have margaritas that were like 3 feet high, and you could have mixed drinks, and you can play games here and games over here and do all this. And when you go to St. Louis to the Dome, you're going to get a week-old pretzel. You're going to get nachos out of a bag. You're going to get a hot dog that they made 3 hours ago, and they just made the giant pyramid. And in St. Louis, I say that with all the love in the world, hoping that you'll up your game just a wee bit.
Just a
little bit. You didn't really think St. Louis was going to compete with San Antonio with nachos, did you? I mean, come on now.
No, but he's saying food, period.
I'm just saying food, man. I mean,
and I bet Ford Field's going to be reasonably priced. And I guarantee you, those that are going out to different UFL games and you're going to different UFL cities, you're going to want to try some food at their stadiums and stuff. So I'm betting Birmingham is going to have a lot of Southern food for us when we get there. So looking forward to that journey.
If they
as
decide
well,
they're
man.
going to branch off and actually have hamburgers this year, I won't demand that they have cheese available because I know you got to do this. You got to do this in steps. But oh my god,
Oh God! Hey, but
no.
we're going to talk about that when the season starts. We're going to talk about the food and stuff. The experiences. Because we're going to want to know what to look forward to when we get to these different cities. You know what I mean? Because we got Birmingham and St. Louis and Houston and Michigan. That's all that we're all trying to get to those games and stuff. So we're gonna want to give reviews on different sites that we go to.
You guys are just lucky that you don't live clear up here in the frozen tundra where you're like 15 hours away from everything. So I'm jealous a little bit. I'm jealous.
Yeah, Eric's gonna have to.
Sorry.
He's gonna have to step up his game a little bit because now that he's seeing all the places we plan on going this year and all the games we're going to be seeing on the road, he's going to have to just suck it up and start making some trips with us because he does not know what he is missing.
I would have to get a private jet.
Let's just say this. Until you've been on the road with this crew and you play the radio on the way home to songs that have a good beat, and you're literally going down the interstate 80 miles an hour, but that van is going just as much side to side as it is down the road. There's never a dull moment with this crew, baby. So get ready to scrap it all.
I was going to save it for X-Man, but guess what? Forget
when you got Big Papa G in the van,
oh God,
and the right song comes on that has a beat, that van is shaking no matter how fast you're going, where you happen to be at the time. That van is going 2 wheels to 2 wheels for the next 3 minutes. Am I right, A-Train?
Oh, gosh. We're not going to talk about the driver on this. The driver and then his partner in the front seat. It was me, but at the same time,
who was driving?
I had to take Dramamine for motion sickness coming home because not only was we going this way, but I was going this way. They had that thing rocked.
He shall not be named by this one. Will not refer to who drove. If you're going to say it, you're going to hear from that guy up there. That's who's going to say it. The dude in the corner, he'll say it. I'm not.
So I can only imagine on our drive to Birmingham, that is going to be a trip for the ages, boy. Because not only are we going to go watch the Stallions, but then we get to look forward to meeting. I get to look forward to meeting Brett for the first time in the flesh.
That's everybody. I haven't met Arlington, Jason. I haven't met anybody in person.
We got to get there. We got to get there. Yeah.
Yeah.
What question do you have up there, A-Train?
Here it is. Does league have concern about the turf not being up to par?
Here's the deal. We found out that the dome is going to be replacing the field turf, but they're not going to do it till after the season. And you would think for sure they would want to do it before the championship game. But they said,
how long would that take? That's what I think that's what my question is. How long
would it take? But they said the reason why they couldn't get the turf in place before this season started was that the merger took so long that they were not going to put the order in for the turf if there wasn't going to be a season. So by the time they could put the order in, it was too late to get the grass. But the grass is horrible.
But here's my thing, though. You still have, even if you didn't have the season, they still was using it for the Missouri and Memphis games and stuff, right? Or whatever they were doing, Missouri was getting inside of the dome. Like you use that, for that particular game. I understand that's one game, but still go ahead and change it out is what I'm saying. Like it's still
I
in
knew-
use.
I knew that when the Missouri played Memphis in that dome, and they saw the condition of that field, I knew that the SEC was going to say, you want another game in that dome with an SEC school? You will have new turf in there. So the fact that they're going to have the new turf in the dome after our season, but you can still bet your ass it's before the fall college season starts. And they're worried about the SEC pulling the plug. But still, it's a shame. It's a shame that the dome is getting LED lighting. Did you know that?
Yes, they will get
They
that.
are replacing all the lighting, and they're hoping that by putting LED lighting in that dome, it's going to brighten it up because it doesn't have the natural light.
So you telling me that from now, February 12th, over to April the 6th, you can't get the turf in because the first event that's supposed to be going down is the motocross the week before. But still, even with that said, you can't put the turf down now. Like,
Look at this now, okay? We lost the Rams, and as part of the Rams settlement, we got millions of dollars, right?
they're going to stifle and throw away.
So you would think that having millions and millions of dollars at our disposal, that money is no object. Beings the settlement has to do with football, right? It was a result of football. So you would think that football would hold priority with any of the money that they had, that you would think it was a given that the money is no object, get the new turf in the field, on the field, in the dome. It's, to me, to not have it in place for the championship game is beyond me.
I blame it all on the city, John. Just like that. I blame everything on the city.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we're gonna give raises to the city workers, though. Did you know that?
Yep, good. They deserve them.
Yep,
they deserve
them. They do, and we're also gonna have a couple bike trails put in. So we got that going for us, which is nice.
It's time to get out of here, man.
Bike trailing in Arlington, like I'm through.
Yeah. Anyway, coming up, we got a meet and greet, fan meet and greet coming up in San Antonio. That I believe is coming up within the next week, isn't it?
Supposedly.
So the meet and greets are happening, and I don't know that they've named for sure when the St. Louis one's going to be, but I have a hunch.
I have a hunch too.
I have a hunch, and I have a hunch that it's going to be.
Breaking news is when it's going to happen after that.
and knowing A-Train and knowing the Dirtmeister.
Oh, the Dirt.
They ain't gonna say a word tonight because it's got to be saved for.
Hey man, if you like pizza, that's what you should expect it. If you like pizza, you should expect it there. If you like apple, you like cherries in your pie, you should expect it there. That's all I'm gonna say to that.
Hey, before we go, I've got to give a shout out to my sophomore son who won his wrestling district this past weekend, and he is on to state starting on Wednesday. So,
woo-hoo!
Congratulations! Be cheering him on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at the Iowa Wrestling State Championships down in Des Moines. So
hopefully he rocks the world. Hopefully he rocks the world and brings home the hardware.
Well, I just want him to get the nerves out. I want him to take the experience in and get past that stuff, so he can set his junior and senior year up for success. So whatever happens for me, man, is gravy. But proud dad moment. Proud dad.
There you go.
Just make sure you tell him that if he's having a frustrating match, don't run over to the coach and start shoving him around and yelling at him, okay? Because it's not the coach's fault. Okay.
There's only one sport that I know of that is a little more than he's at 190, Chris, 190. There's only one sport I can think of that tends to be more intense than football, and trust me when I tell you, there's no more intense than a wrestling mom. So,
Jesus.
I mean,
especially in Iowa, man.
Are
Especially
crazy.
The Iowa Hawkeyes are like the poster college for wrestling. So,
I mean, wrestling moms they're a whole breed.
And then you should see them when they're having the celebration that their son just won the district championship. And this dude over here, when she's trying to video the celebration, he knocks the phone out of her hands.
True story. I got a little wild, A-Train. I got a little wild, man. When the dust all settled, I got my butt chewed when the dust all settled.
So anyway, Brett, is there any breaking news or anything coming up from the UFL that you want to plug quick?
No, we'll leave that up to the fellas. We'll leave that up to Arlington and Jason. What are we now, fellas? How many days?
Oh, we got to have an official countdown, don't we?
We need an official countdown.
What is it?
We got 17 to 17.
47. 47.
47. If it was Brad, he'd say 21. But it's
hey, listen. If it was Brett using the Birmingham Stallions roster, he'd be like, there's 150 days yet.
Hey,
no. I would say there's about 12.
All right.
We're supposed to have 150 on the roster. We're supposed to have 75 right now, but we got 150. Yeah.
Well, everybody, thanks for joining us in this week's Dynasty edition of The Bottom Line. Looking forward to seeing everybody here again next week, Monday at 8 o'clock, for some more riveting stuff. Next week, we plan on pretty much focusing on the UFL and the return of none other than AJ McCarron, number 10 in your program, but number 1 in your heart. Until we see you next week, take care, everybody. Thanks for joining.
Go Stallions! Giddy up!
Hee-haw!